McVay has hired John Streicher, who was with the Titans the last 6 seasons, as their new game management coordinator, and he was asked about it.
This game management or this game management coordinator, there's a select group of people that have really earned a great reputation around the league. I thought it was important that we put somebody in that role to be able to be, just more consistent and help me be better for our football team. And he's somebody that I'm going to really rely upon, and I think he's going to help us out a lot.
Bill, this seems like a great idea. I know there's other teams with people in similar roles. Does a move like this make sense to you for McVay?
It does. And certainly there's a lot of ways a game management assistant can help in terms of the process on game day, whether it comes to fourth down decisions. But McVay really focused on timeouts as the reason why he wanted to bring someone in to assist. And that's been a problem for them, even going back to last year. The Rams called 9 timeouts on drives that began in the third quarter of games. So not late when you're going to need those timeouts to stop the clock and control the clock. Wow. That was the most of any team in football. And obviously there's things that happen here and there. You might have a guy step on the field too late, but at the end of the day, that comes on the head coach and it's under his responsibility. So if Sean McVay can defer some of that, be a little smarter about how they use timeouts with this new help, it's going to go a long way for the Rams when it comes to how they manage late game situations.
Yeah, I don't understand why any NFL coach wouldn't want someone helping them with timeouts. I mean, managing a clock, in addition to all the other responsibilities that come with managing a game is hard enough. So it seems like an obvious thing to ask for help with. I would say from the game management perspective, Coach McVay, incredible leader, incredible play caller, has struggled, to Bill's point, with a few things in terms of game management over the years. One of them is timeouts. Another is, and this was something that I thought actually was another issue in the playoff game, fourth down aggression. There were a couple fourth downs in that game that I think he could have gone for. One that he talked about, punting near the end of the game and only gaining about 30 yards in field position. So those are all responsibilities that will fall likely under Streicher's role. And I think from their perspective in terms of hiring him from Tennessee, by all accounts, what we saw from the outside, that was a very well-run operation and one where, notably, they had organizational buy-in from their head coach, Mike Vrabel. And I think as we look around the NFL at teams, how they integrate analytics and game management, something that really stands out, something that was very striking in the Super Bowl is the successful teams tend to have that level of buy-in from the coach, from the players. You remember at Kansas City, the shots we got of the players talking about the overtime strategy, for example. So if the Rams can bring some of that to their team, to me, it seems like a no-brainer.
That is the critical aspect of this, right, Mina? Like, it's one thing to hire a guy. It's another thing to listen to him when things are intense at the end of the game in the critical situations. And I think what people need to understand, because there's a very, that a whole analytics debate gets very fraught and people get very upset. The reason this works in successful organizations is they've all talked about it already. The coach was in the meeting with the game management coordinator on Thursday or Friday, whenever it was. And so when the situation happens in the game, that person's pretty much just reminding him what they all came up with data-wise when they were all sober during the middle of the week, when it wasn't like an intense end-of-game situation. So I think the key aspect of this is McVay bring in someone like this and then definitely listening to him when the recommendation comes in, whether it's a timeout, whether it's go for it on fourth down, whether it's go for 2 after the touchdown. These are quick fire decisions that happen in the course of a game, and it's a lot better to have someone helping you with them.
If this is such a great idea, Graz, doesn't every team do this? Not everybody does, right?
To some extent. No, I think it's a very common thing at this point where people, there are a number of people in the coach's headset during the game that can that are authorized to chime in on situations like this. I do think every team, if not almost every team, has someone like this.
And just a reminder, McVay already has somebody on his staff to keep him from running out on the field. He has a get-back coach, Mina. Which I think we all can use.
Another thing that every coach could probably use.
Mina,
yeah,
anyway, you
exactly.
had one more thing to add.
I just want to follow on. Yeah, what Dan, you're talking about just those spur-of-the-moment decisions in the buy-in, and you talked about whether to go for 2. Again, Tennessee, who previously employed John Streicher, is one of the teams that went for 2, down 8, against the Miami Dolphins and won the game. And that is not something, Hannah, that every team is doing. More and more we're seeing coaches doing that. But it seems very clear to me that the teams with this sort of organizational buy-in from the coaching staff and their game management people are more likely to make those sorts of decisions. And the Rams joining their ranks will just make them all the more successful.
Sure, and if that can be the difference with maybe even 1, maybe 2 games per season, just to eliminate those clock management issues as much as you can, would seem to be paramount.